You're watching the Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, why you need to keep your medical records. Nearly 100,000 people die every year due to medical errors that could have been avoided. My first guests are the founders of MediRecs Alert System, producers of My Personal Guardian. This allows you to keep all your medical records, prescriptions, doctors, allergies, contact information, personal information, even test reports on a secure data device no bigger than your thumb. Hot topic. My advice, stick around for the latest edition of the Wellness Hour.
The Wellness Hour. An in-depth discussion with today's top physicians and medical leaders. And now, your host, Randy Alvarez.
You're watching the Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, why you need to keep your medical records. My first guests are the founders of MediRecs Alert System, producers of My Personal Guardian. With us, we have Dennis Mario and Robin Muirhead. Dennis,
thanks for having us.
Robin, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Dennis, we'll start with you. Now you're a well-known businessman in the Coachella Valley, bought and sold businesses. Why this new business for you?
It's a new business. What happened, I have a number of pre-existing medical conditions, allergies, take a lot of medications, and I actually saw an ad in a magazine, and I'm saying, well, I can do that. I really don't need them to do that. And Robin and I started discussing it, and she said, we should build a business around it. Now, we did a lot of research, and we wanted to make sure...
So there are other companies doing this?
There are other companies doing it, but as you know, whenever I get involved in something, I really want to be able to be number one in that industry.
All right, I appreciate that.
And so if we can't be number one, or we cannot really make a difference or position ourselves as being better, generally won't get involved with it. But this is something that's new to the industry. It's something that we know we can excel at.
So it's putting medical records, just for people just tuning in, medical records on this simple little
flash drive
that goes in any computer.
Right, and
where a physician could just pull it up.
Right, and we call it My Personal Guardian because obviously with the information that's on there, it can save a person's life.
Okay, so you're saying, and you told me this off camera, you said, Randy, this is the best on the market.
Yes, that's correct.
You believe that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, we're so proud of it. When we went to get the product, we got it from Kingston, and Kingston is actually the number one producers of the drive. They asked us if they could co-brand with us.
Is that right?
They were so impressed with our business philosophy and how we approach the market, and also the care that we really want to give to our members.
Okay, good. Robin, let's talk to you. Now, you're the other founder. I mean, you're his business partner.
Yep.
Tell us about your role.
Well, like Dennis had mentioned, we'd talked about it, and I thought, we can do this, and we can do this better than anybody else. And I started doing the research on how to actually do it, and do it better than everybody else. And the way we found is that we want to make it as simple as we can for the member to get their records. And that's the hardest part for most people, is doing it themselves.
Now, 100,000 people, we said this at the top of the show, 100,000 people die every year due to medical errors that could have been avoided. I got that information from you. Is that accurate?
Yes. Actually, I got that information from the FDA. And it is a well-known fact, sad fact.
Because of drug interaction problems?
Well, it's various things. It's not knowing someone's condition and then treating them inappropriately. It's giving them drugs they're allergic to. It's giving them medications that have adverse effects with medications they're already taking.
Well, it's obvious that when emergencies strike, people end up in some unknown emergency room. They didn't plan on being there. Right. And that ER doesn't know. And I talk to ER docs, they don't know what to do. I mean, they don't have all their information.
No, basically what they'll do is what's usual and customary. And so what they're doing everything exactly the way they should be doing it for someone who doesn't have an issue.
Okay.
Let's say you're allergic to penicillin or aspirin or Demerol or whatever. If they don't know that and the protocol calls for Demerol and they give them an injection of it, they just kill the patient.
Okay.
Did they do something wrong? Well, no, they did it according to protocol. But had they had this device, they would have known immediately that this person is allergic to Demerol. Or if somebody had been having megadoses of cortisone, all of a sudden, an abrupt stop of that causes a person to go into a coma. It's a simple shot of cortisone. But if they don't know that, they don't know what to do.
Okay, now when I heard about this topic, Robin, I think you and I talked about this. My mother had an allergy to a drug, and she's in Las Vegas, and it put her in a coma for a week. And so she suffered for a week.
Right.
And so I said, maybe this is something I need to get. I mean, as low as like what? And I'm not trying to be salesy here, but for $20 a month, to get her medical records were It could have been avoided.
It could. The big thing about this too is the information that's on here can literally save your life. Again, we're talking about if you have any allergies, any drugs that you have, there may be drug interactions, as Robin was saying. We have one member who actually is a heart transplant person. So her medical records are all on this drive in addition to what medication she's taking. Now, obviously, because of her immune system having to be suppressed because of the anti-rejection drugs, if she's in an accident, they don't know that, they can literally kill her.
So this goes on the keychain?
This goes on a keychain. Some people are wearing it around their neck. Whatever you want to do with it. We are going to be coming out with different variations of it down the road.
So if they lose that, it's backed up?
Yeah, actually, we're one of the few companies that do that. We actually have all of this on our secure service back at our headquarters. So if you lose it, you don't have to go through the misery of gathering the information again. We just simply upload it to the device and send it to you.
Okay, Robin,
Yes.
Dennis says that you are far better than what's out there. Let's start there with your perceived competitive advantages, because a lot of people I know want to do this. They would love to have all their medical records on there, because I've asked around, but they're afraid. They don't know what company to trust. There's confusion. Is that true? There is a bit confusion out there?
There's confusion, especially with older people. They just don't trust technology.
So Robin, tell me then, how are you different than what's out there now?
The key difference is that we are putting the records on the device for you. Most of our competitors are sending you a device with preloaded software, and you have to do everything yourself, and they are totally
Is that for liability
hands-off.
reasons? Why would they do that? It seems like a big hassle.
Well, there are two reasons. One is the liability issue. The other part of it is because it's time consuming to go off and get everyone's medical records.
Interesting.
To go through them, to glean through and see what the information, the pertinent information needs to be in there, and then to make the decisions of what to include and what not to include.
As Dennis mentioned about our heart transplant person, we received almost 400 pages, which was just the last 3.5 years of her life, of her medical records. And that's a lot of work to sort through that and get all the
And your company does that?
Yep. We got all of those records, and we scanned in the pertinent things and had it all reviewed. We send it out to the customer. They can review it themselves. We actually insist that they review it themselves and verify that it has what they want on it and that it's correct. And
how often can it be updated? And who does the updating?
Okay, it can be updated as often as the member wants it to be. We do have two programs where you can sign up for 2 updates per year or 4 updates per year, depending on your conditions and how frequently your medications change or your conditions change. And generally what will happen is we'll send out reminders to the member saying, has anything changed? And if it has, then they have to give us permission again to get the medical records to get that information again, or they can provide it to us.
So to get started, and I'll ask you, Robin, to get started, a patient just gives you the names of their doctors.
Well, they give us some key information. They give us their name, their address, their height, their weight, all that fun information. Then we have record release documents. They sign these. They do have to be witnessed. They're only valid for 30 days. We go off and we get the records from their providers. When it's time to get an update, we do need to get new permission slips, but it's not that complex of a project. It is time consuming. A lot of times providers can take 4 to 6 weeks to get back to us.
Okay.
But it saves you all that hassle, and then everything is accurate. It's exactly what's going on in your medical condition.
And Randy, the thing that I do want to make sure that people understand is that not only are the medical records on the drive, but we go through and we put together summaries. So there's a summary of all the pertinent information to identify the person, to make sure their drive is actually for the right person. The medications are all summarized, the prescriptions, their dosages, the frequencies, the pharmacies they go to, prescription numbers, telephone numbers for the pharmacies. Everything is over there summarized.
Seems like a lot of work, by the way, to get all this information.
Well, it is. It is a lot of work. But once you have it, it's very vital. And a person goes to a specialist or another doctor, they hand them the drive. They don't have to fill out all those pesky medical forms any longer.
Now, this is very inexpensive, this program. So
Yes,
obviously you're banking on millions of people doing this nationwide.
That's correct.
I mean, as low as $10 a month.
That's correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
To get all the information on there. And you have different levels. What differentiates the levels?
Well, there are certain people that don't necessarily need the in-depth, go out to your doctor, contact 10 different clinics to get the information. Okay, so there are people who would want a device such as this, and they're computer savvy, they're comfortable with the internet, they can go